ngantuk, nggak ngerti, ngapain, ngutngit, ngen, ngam, ngong, ngảo, ngọ, ngồi, ngào, ngan. Nguyễn? Sounds a bit funny to people who aren't used to the languages, but languages across Asia, there is this common ng sound at the beginning. It's called an initial ng sound. And for English speakers, when they're coming to learn these languages, whether it's Southern Chinese languages, dialects like Cantonese or Vietnamese or Thai or Indonesian or Tagalog or other Filipino languages where this sound is common, next to the tones for languages that do have tones, it's this ng initial sound that raises the most issues, pronunciation issues. So what happens, people, instead of pronouncing a word like ngan or ngern, they'll say nyan, nyan, and it's really hard for them to pronounce that because in English, although we have an ng sound, it only ever comes at the end of a word or in the middle of a word. So let's have a look at how this is pronounced, because if you don't pronounce it the right way, people aren't going to understand what you're saying. It's really interesting to see how the sound comes about in different languages and how it functions. For example, in Indonesian, the sound often is from an abbreviation. So you have in Indonesian verb forms a m prefix and a kan suffix. So for example, arti, meaning mengerti, to understand, so it gets shortened in slang Indonesian to ngerti. Tidak, no, so it becomes enggak. So do you understand or not? Ngerti enggak? You can see this ng sound just hooks on there instead of the original sound. Or sedang apa, sedang becomes mengapa, and then in at the end instead of kan. So mengapa kan become ngapain, meaning sedang apa, or what are you doing in Indonesian. In Thai, we have this sound as well. So for example, ngut ngit. It often happens in onomatopoeia, and in Chinese, in Cantonese, it's really interesting. If we have a look at the word, say in Mandarin, niao, meaning ox, by the time it goes down into Cantonese, it moves back, and that moves to the back of the throat, and it becomes ngao. Now, it's really interesting to see, because this sound is in southern China, it goes down, and if we take that word ngao, and swap the vowel sounds around, so that diphthong ow, take it round and it becomes ow, ua, and then put it together, ngwa, ha. If you speak Thai, you will understand that word straight off. Somebody from Bangkok who speaks standard central Thai, if they hear somebody say ngwa, they think, I know, you come from up country and you don't pronounce Thai properly, because that's the same word for ox, ua. But they hear people from up country pronouncing it ngwa. Now, isn't it funny that actually that sound ngwa probably sounds more similar to the way it was originally pronounced, and it's the people in Bangkok that are pronouncing it incorrectly. Well, different. But before I go and start any political international incidents here, let's move on. So how do you pronounce this ng sound at the beginning? Well, it's pretty easy. First of all, before we start something, we try and find something we already know. So in English, we do have the ng sound, but it's at the end. So let's have a look. The word sing. Can you say that? Sing. Now say singer, singer. Now, if you're in the US and you say it's a singer, you might say singer. Now, we want to take that out of there and just make it more like an Australian or somebody from the UK. Singer. Can you say that? Now let's do it really slowly. Sing. Now I want you to pause the tape and do that again. And as you get to that and then you release it to the have a feel and really be aware of what your muscles are doing, your throat's doing before and then after the release. And see if you can start to mimic that. Sim, sing, sing. See if you can try and produce that yourself. Then take the E off of it. So press pause now. Okay, and now you're back. Now we're going to go on further. Singa. Now we'll double it. Singanga. 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 Let's do it fast. Singanga. Singanga. Now, can you take the C off? Nga. Nga. Now, what's happening here is, supposing that's the front of your mouth, and this is your tongue. Nga. That's the back of my tongue. Nga. The front of my tongue is not doing anything. It shouldn't be going nya, nya. If it's doing that, it's wrong. You've got to have just the back of your tongue falling down. Singa, nga, ngân, ngân, ngan, ngao, nga. Now, stop the tape again. Try and go through those exercises again. Once you can, come back and drill these words with me. You ready? Nga, nghe, ngô, ngan, ngô, ngô, nga, nga, ngột, ngột nghệt, ngapain, nggak ngerti, 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 ngõ. Now you notice in Cantonese there, ngõ, you see with the NGO, actually in Hong Kong, you'll see them drop this. It's actually gone so far back that it drops off. So ngõ for the word wo in Mandarin just becomes zhongyi. I don't like instead of zhongyi. So in Hong Kong, you might even get away with dropping the ng off, but you won't in those other languages. So go back, replay this tape again, and try and go through them. I bet you within about 10 minutes, your muscles are going to start getting into it and you'll be able to take control. And from now on, when you're speaking, whether it's Thai, Indonesian, Tagalog, Cantonese, Vietnamese, people are going to understand you a lot more. I'm Stuart J. Raj, and this is Language and Mind Mastery for StuJ.com.